What is going on with Starfield? Haven't seen it myself. So we're gonna take a look at this. And because now, as far as I know, no more DLCs for the game. They cancelled and stopped the support. Why? I don't know. It's a little sad. But what are you gonna do? Huh? So, let's give it a go.
What is going on with Starfield right now? This past weekend was of course the 2025 Xbox Showcase, and despite quite a bit of fan excitement, Starfield completely missed this showcase, leading to many fans wondering if the game is just outright dead now. In this video, I want to bring you up to date on what's actually going on here, because thanks to past interviews and even some leaks, we do have a pretty good idea of what is coming next for Starfield. And I even think I know why it missed the showcase altogether. Starfield's in a really weird spot right now, and honestly, I agree with a lot of this fan frustration. Fans are correct to be annoyed over the lack of communication again. Following the release of Shattered Space in September, Starfield got one more free update in November, addressing some of those lingering issues from the expansion. But otherwise, after that November patch, the game went radio silent for months, where after mounting fan curiosity and even some frustration, Bethesda finally did reply to say, "We know you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right."
And that was March 6th. So that is... Oh, that's a long time ago.
Always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being part of this journey with us. So yeah, definitely a nice message, but really just confirming that the game would get updates at a later point in 2025. And about 2 months after this, an update did come out with the Starfield May patch. Sadly, if you weren't already playing, you almost certainly won't be interested in this one. It brought some really nice performance improvements for some users, including a new lower quality setting, which is really great for Steam Deck, and it even made some of the Shattered Space content finally buildable at your outpost after completing Unity. But that was really it. There of course were further creation changes and even bug fixes, but when it came to official content or updates from Bethesda in 2025 on Starfield, that's all we've gotten so far. One Twitter post in March, as well as a relatively minor update in May. Although, this update did include something very interesting that honestly might get some of you playing Starfield again. That being a new DLC named Watchtower. But this didn't come from Bethesda. We're going to talk more about this later in this.
And that's why they have mods, Vikings. That's exactly why they have mods. They stopped it. They stopped the support. Now it's up to modders to improve the game.
Video because it is freaking epic. It introduces some really cool new features into the game, and a lot of fans are praising this one right now. And overall, I do think Bethesda's statements thus far this year do make it pretty clear that no, Starfield is not currently abandoned. Bethesda has consistently fallen short on communication around their games, and it's almost been perpetually true for Starfield. I feel like this is the third time fans were frustrated and waiting months for some kind of update before Bethesda finally just releases something. So while yes, it's frustrating, I don't think their silence means it's abandoned, and instead, what I think is going on is the Xbox Showcase wasn't the appropriate stage to talk about what's coming next to Starfield. Do you remember?
I thought it was dead.
The Xbox...
Oh yeah, okay.
Showcase wasn't the appropriate stage to talk about what's coming next to Starfield. Do you remember back at the start of 2024 when Xbox Era reported that Starfield would be coming to PlayStation 5 and the community freaked out? A bit later, Xbox had a podcast about how it would actually be for other games going to PlayStation 5, but at least as of then, Starfield wasn't on the table. I'm not somebody who typically jumps on board with the whole planned or coordinated leak thing, but I think in this specific example, Xbox saw this leak go public, saw the massive amount of backlash, and simply delayed their plans a bit. Because I think, yeah, the big thing that's on the horizon is Starfield's next DLC and possibly a larger update will coincide with the PlayStation 5 release of the game.
Without a doubt, it's coming to consoles. It's coming to consoles. I think. No, but truly, I think that's exactly what's going on. I think now they're cooking. They're waiting. No, they're not waiting, but they're cooking. They're making this for PlayStation 5 while also developing an update. Then I think they will release a new DLC. I don't think a new update, a new DLC, and freaking PlayStation 5 will come at the same time. I doubt it. This is Bethesda Vikings. It's Bethesda. It won't. But an update, PlayStation 5, and then DLC maybe 3 months later. That's what I think. Hell yeah. What was the wrong button?
Giving the game a second chance with a totally new audience on a completely new platform, and it's the leaks that have been coming out over the past few months are even backing this
Hell yeah.
up. I mean, even just coming from the top itself, earlier this year, Phil Spencer was asked about Starfield staying on Xbox for the time being, to which he just said, no games are necessarily staying on Xbox. Tom Warren of The Verge recently said that Starfield was meant to launch on PlayStation 5 with Shattered Space in September, but for some reason that plan was scrapped or changed. And it's just a super concrete leak on this. Nate the Hate, who got just about everything correct on Oblivion Remastered, has stated Starfield is coming to PlayStation 5 and intent should be announced this year. It's just a matter of when will the announcement happen.
And that was May. Last month. Okay. Yeah, but when you've seen how popular the remake is of Oblivion, of course they're gonna do something with other games, but to re-release Starfield for PlayStation 5, without a doubt, like it's a money-making machine.
Even further saying, I would expect the gap between announcement and release to be minimal. And just as an aside, be careful where you're getting your Starfield news or info. In his predictions podcast, Nate the Hate says this.
Because, I mean, this is the Xbox showcase. This isn't the venue to announce Starfield going to PS5.
And yeah, I honestly think that's your answer more or less. Starfield was not at the Xbox showcase, but the next major update or DLC will be tied around a PlayStation 5 release, which for fairly obvious reasons, Xbox didn't want to announce at their showcase. A couple of months ago, we even saw some of these Starfield mod pages get PlayStation 5 logos, as if those mods would be available on PlayStation as well. What I imagine was going on there was some of the people in the Verified Creator program got early access to posting their mods on PlayStation 5, or at least adapting them to that platform, and we start to see some of that leak through. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is a release that...
This is the mod, the Star Wars mod, which completely changes the whole game to a Star Wars game. Dialogue, ships, weapons, clothing, everything. So this is something we definitely have to give it a try.
That's coming up soon. The fact that we saw mod pages get updated like this makes me think this could be just in the next couple of months. Nate the Hate even claimed that the gap between announcement and release would be minimal for a PlayStation 5 drop, and just yesterday, a Halo data miner found a new Halo API entry that, at least to this person, confirms a Halo game on PlayStation, and apparently it's coming soon. Maybe there's going to be a series of Xbox games coming to PlayStation announcements, and I could see Gamescom being a perfect stage for that. Or honestly, they could just randomly announce this any week, but Gamescom really is the next major showcase. It's coming in August, and in the past, Bethesda has been there. And even when it comes to a second DLC, I do still think that is possible, and to me, it's not that crazy that we haven't heard anything yet. Shared Space dropped in September, and if this Todd Howard interview is correct...
content...
Anyone played Shattered Space? Like, I heard it was sucked ass. But I mean, for you guys who are Starfield fans, was it good? Or was it shit?
Wise, we're looking at kind of like what we did with Far Harbor on Fallout 4. We're like, okay, this is a scope that works for, our development in doing this kind of annual story expansion type of thing. So
Bethesda wants yearly story expansions for Starfield, at least as long as the audience keeps buying them. And well, yeah, Starfield's player count on Steam hasn't been the best. The game still does seem to have a very solid Game Pass core audience, like a ton of other Xbox games. I've seen some arguments saying that more developers on Starfield, like working on a DLC, would take away developers from the Elder Scrolls 6 and slow down development on that side. But do you really think Bethesda...
Okay, so it wasn't abandoned per se. They just haven't announced anything yet. But now it's almost been a year and nothing?
Bethesda doesn't have enough developers on The Elder Scrolls 6. Like, do you not think they could ask Xbox for that? I feel like when it comes to The Elder Scrolls 6, Bethesda could probably get just about whatever they realistically need to make that game. Over the past few years, Bethesda has been
without a doubt they can.
Maybe some more Starfield DLC will make them some more money in the interim. So I do think this all means that we probably will see another new Starfield DLC, but it's likely not coming until September or October. It's likely a very similar team to who worked on Shattered Space. And yeah, DLCs take time. They might need a full year to actually get that one out. The word Starborn was randomly trademarked by Bethesda, so many are speculating this will be the name for the new DLC. And I honestly think Bethesda has a pretty good...
Starborn, wasn't that a name for something in Starfield? The main character was Starborn or something? I don't know, but I feel like that's something we've heard before.
Reason to continue supporting Starfield, even if it seems like the player counts and overall interest is lower. Mainly because I think this is an exceptionally well monetized audience right now. Bethesda is releasing regular paid mods for both Starfield and Skyrim. And from the conversations I've had with creators, these are making pretty good money. Which means quite a few people are buying these and new choices are available to purchase just about every...
What? So now they make money by creating mods for the games? That is sweet. Crime Overhaul, Smuggler's Run, okay.
Month. The big new option is, of course, Watchtower from King Gath Creations, which is legitimately awesome. This might be one of the best pieces of paid mod content to ever come to Starfield. It's 1,000 points, or about $10, and this does feel like a legit Starfield DLC. It'll introduce a new faction with Watchtower that does have all sorts of advanced technology at their disposal. Over time, you're going to be working with this resistance force against Watchtower. All these characters are professionally voice acted, and well, yeah, the story here is incredibly compelling and interesting. This shadowy, super powerful faction that you have to deal with. To me, what really elevated Watchtower is just the cool factor.
I hate when they do this because now I liked Starfield. I did. I liked it, Vikings. I did. It was just so little to do. But then again, it was good. It was good. I really think it was good, Vikings. It was good. But it was just stuff that was in the game that was bad, like exploration with your ship. I didn't like that with the loading. So much loading. But it was like, all in all, it was a good game. Empty on the planets, but I mean, I don't know. It was good. I just wish I didn't listen to all the players that did play the game before me, because they said, finish the main quests and then do everything, because you're gonna get like special new game plus with a different story and different characters and stuff. And just, yeah, I did that, and that kind of sucked, because when I finish games, I'm sort of done. I don't want to do the side quests when I'm done with the game. So if I'm going to do side quests, I have to do them before I finish the main quest. I know a lot of people are like that, and some ain't, but to me, that was poor decision. Poor decision indeed. Same, exactly. Like, that was... I had so many side quests. I just mainly did the main quest. So one day, maybe we'll revisit this. Even vanilla or the Star Wars mod. I don't know. But then again, hey. Wrong button. Fuck it. Let's go. Hell yeah, Vikings.
It introduces a ton of epic new features for you to try out and use. As you play this one, it'll open up the ability to, and you really need to have, fleets of spaceships now. So as you're just flying around or even docking at certain places, you'll find some of your other ships flying with you, and you can unlock more slots for this, which just becomes a blast. With Watchtower, you get into a ton of space fights, and having fleets on your side just make that aspect of the game a lot more compelling. Having 4 or 5 ships on your own side makes some of these extended space fights a lot more enjoyable, and actually feel like those epic space battles like you see in movies and TV shows. And if you even get to using some of those other often overlooked Starfield features, I ended up buying Falkland Systems to try out some modded ships for my fleet as I kept expanding my ship options. But I also needed way more crew now, and for the first time was actively searching for new people to man my ships, which was just really enjoyable and fun.
This is the DLC? Huh? Hold on. This is the DLC. You can find people to what? It sounds amazing. So now they can man the ships. You can make a fleet or whatever. What?
Slots for this, which just becomes a blast. With Watchtower, you get into a ton of space fights, and having fleets on your side just make that aspect of the game a lot more compelling. Having 4 or 5 ships on your own side makes some of these extended space fights a lot more enjoyable and actually feel like those epic space battles like you see in movies and TV shows. And it even gets you using some of those other often overlooked Starfield features. I ended up buying Falkland Systems to try out some modded ships for my fleet as I kept expanding my ship options, but I also needed way more crew now, and for the first time was actively searching for new people to man my ships, which was just really enjoyable and fun. You'll also unlock sky drops through this. This is going to be a new call-in that you basically attach to one of your spaceships in your fleet, and then you can call down things like a missile strike on.
I mean, this is like a completely different game. It's not a completely different game, but this is what? It adds so much to the game. This is just a mod. $10. What? I mean, then I don't mind that Bethesda is just not making any DLCs. If what people bring, whoo, hell to the yeah, I say. Whew.
The ground, friendly robots to help you, or even automated turrets. Some of those Watchtower enemies you're going to use enhanced gear or even mechs, so you'll need these boosts, and just overall, this makes the core gameplay loop of Starfield a ton more fun. After you beat Watchtower, you're going to keep all of these new features. Then yeah, after clearing out yet another outpost, being able to call down a toxic gas strike just makes the whole experience a lot more fun. All the new features of Watchtower are super high on that coolness factor, which is why I think so many fans are singing their praises for this DLC. Honestly, I think I had more fun playing Watchtower than I did with Shattered Space, which is from Bethesda officially. To me, the best way to experience this one is intertwined with Starfield already, so you could use some of the new features even just beyond some of the Watchtower quests just as you're playing Starfield. And I think this is a big part of Bethesda's plan that a lot of people are just missing right now. They're selling a lot of these paid mods, and as you have groups like Hingath Creations making content this high quality, it really takes a lot of the onus off of Bethesda to release their own content and keep their game monetized.
Yeah, but isn't that what they do? They do that with every game. They release the game, release some story content, some DLC. Some, I said maybe 1 to 3. In some rare cases, maybe 4. Let's say in general 2. And then they just no, we got 20 mods that has story, has content. And they're adding more. And now the creators get paid to make something like that? It's a whole new world. Hell yeah. This might be one hell of a game in a few years' time. I like it.
They're already doing that through a lot of the paid mods and other creators out there. The PS5 release just means a lot more players who might be interested in buying paid mods monthly or bi-monthly. Although releasing paid and free mods at the same time has almost certainly come with a cost to free modding. Starfield's free modding scene definitely feels like it's a bit hampered compared to where other games were at this point after release, like Fallout 4 or Skyrim. A huge part of that is some of the coolest content, like some of the things I was showing you in the background of this video, are paid mods. They were released behind a paywall. With that said, if you're looking for a genuine free reason to replay Starfield right now, Star Wars Genesis is pretty incredible. This is a Starfield Star Wars mod list.
This is the one I mentioned. Completely overhauls the game.
With an automated installer. It'll overhaul the main story to be Star Wars themed. So it'll still feature many of the main story beats of Starfield, those big things are still there, but basically with a fresh Star Wars coat of paint, which honestly could up the interest for a ton of you, particularly those who are already die-hard Star Wars fans. Because this does genuinely change a ton about the game. Nearly all of the NPCs you encounter are either a Star Wars race now, or using Star Wars weapons or armors. The United Colonies overall becomes the Imperial Empire, as well as other factions are changed. And in actual gameplay, you just see a ton of new stuff. Combat encounters had me constantly searching overarching inventories for these new but very familiar weapons. And I would almost say, if you're a giant Star Wars fan right now, this might be a must download. Even if you're only experiencing this world for a few hours, you can still have a ton of fun and get really immersed in everything happening around you. But with that said, that is where Starfield stands right now and where I think this game is going. I don't think it's quite a bad.
And it's free. It's free!
But there is a clear strategy shift here, as I do suspect Bethesda has a lot riding on this upcoming PlayStation 5 release for Starfield and even their future plans for the title.
Look at this. Mandalorian. Love it. A bounty hunter. Whatever. Holy shit. Yeah, Vikings. Without a doubt. Like, they have a lot of that's riding on the PS5ers. No, they don't. They have the DLCs.